Welcome to episode 137 of Auto Off Topic. What's up, Brad?
What's going on, Andrew? I am local this time, so no experimental phone podcasts.
Yeah, you won't be like munching chips or whatever you were doing.
I wasn't munching chips. I was literally opening a bag of waters, like a bag of waters, but waters come wrapped in cellophane.
Yeah.
I was opening up one of those because I forgot to do it before we started recording. But just so you don't miss that, I'll open this beer right on mic.
And where do we get that beer tonight?
We have a guest in studio tonight, and he brought us some lovely local beer from Trillium. One of my favorite local breweries, an IPA called Spectacle Island.
Yeah, we have Paul Huerta, right?
Yep.
Did I say that right?
Oh, yeah.
Osaka Flocka
Yeah.
on Instagram.
Yes, at Osaka Flocka on
Hello.
Instagram and wherever else. Is there anywhere else? We'll plug your stuff early.
Actually, I don't know where else I am. Well, I mean, other than the Daily Brief podcast, I don't know if I'm anywhere else
Okay.
that I can think of.
Okay, so no more Osaka Flocka other than on Instagram.
Yeah.
So you already teased it there.
If you find another Osaka Flocka, tell me.
All
'Cause
right.
they're catfishing.
Apparently. We'll get into what it means later, I guess. Do you know what it means? I don't know what it means.
It doesn't really mean anything.
Good. Perfect.
It sounds cool.
Osaka like Japan, Waka, Flocka like Waka Flocka.
Okay.
That's
Osaka Flocka Flame. I got you.
There is actually one of those on Instagram. I found that name.
Okay.
That was fun. So,
Excellent.
cool.
So as you did tease right there, you are the co-host of
Daily
Daily
Brief.
Brief Auto
Yep.
podcast
Oh yeah.
with Tanasi.
Oh yeah. Car
So-
news and stories of us breaking vehicles and
So you do a lot
Misery.
of story about your own cars and a lot of brand new cars, which is
exactly yeah.
kind of like us, except with new car stories instead of old car stories.
Right.
We like to report the news that's well established. You like to report the news that's happening now.
Exactly.
Well, I try to interject a little old stuff too.
Yeah. Plus, with your own cars, your cars aren't all brand new. You have some old stuff too. So we'll get
a
into
lot
your
of '90s.
yeah, we'll get into your fleet
Yeah.
in a little bit.
Yeah. I have down here wheel enthusiast,
Yes,
JDM Euro enthusiast.
I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
More
General car
Japanese,
enthusiast.
I think,
More
yeah.
Japanese.
General car enthusiast.
Drifter, but not like a vagrant. Like
I do a lot of spinning out in parking lots.
Excellent.
fair enough.
We did that too. Just we didn't do it sanctioned.
Yeah. Photographer. I like your photography. We can talk about that.
Yeah, film
Interesting.
photographer too, which is
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
different in this world of digital everything.
Yeah.
So
I've been bragging about on here. I've been shooting more film lately, so
right.
It's fun. Even when you take a terrible picture, it still looks like
Yeah.
fun.
and like the anticipation of like waiting for it to come back.
It's stressful. I always try to experiment, and then I have no idea if that's going to work, and then I never remember what I actually did when I experimented. So when it comes out, I don't really know what I did right or wrong. I should probably take notes.
I'm afraid to go back to film because I'm not as good of a photographer because I haven't just done it as much as I probably should have, and I'm not very good with settings.
The learning curve definitely was not as steep with digital,
Right.
so it gives you a better idea now with film. It was very hard to learn when you had film.
Well, I remember because I actually took film in high school,
Right.
photography in high school.
I failed it.
Did you?
Yeah.
Excellent. And it shows. No. No,
Fair enough.
I don't think I failed it. I might not have gotten a great grade, but it wasn't due to the lack of being able to shoot a picture. It was more due to lack of effort because
That's why I failed.
that was me in high school. Yeah.
I got C's in my photography classes because I liked doing the assignments that sounded like fun, and then
Yeah.
I didn't like doing the busy
Yeah,
work.
exactly.
So I didn't turn in a lot of things. But
Yeah.
I don't ask me the Sunny F16 rule. I don't know it. I can't remember it.
I don't remember that being a thing. So
Yeah.
there you go.
I couldn't tell you.
I
what
just
it is.
remember our photography class final was the most fun final of the whole school year.
Yeah.
So
that was the only one I enjoyed.
I enjoyed my photography class final very well.
I just know that like
I had to go get ice cream, basically. It was a scavenger hunt.
yeah.
So I did a scavenger hunt I borrowed my father's Carmen Ghia convertible during the middle of the school day and
Yeah.
just drove around all day.
Yeah.
It was perfect.
And other kids that were more savvy than me knew that you took photography so you could be in the dark room alone with girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's mostly why dudes took it.
Okay.
I actually took it because I was kind of interested in photography, and I just wasn't
So
cool about it.
I used to get in trouble because I took the same picture all the time.
Yeah,
We had a janitor at the school who drove a 3000 GT,
yeah.
and that's what I always took pictures of because I didn't know how to take pictures of anything else.
We used to do. We'd go around the school area to take pictures around campus, and I would always just walk over to my car and take pictures of my car.
Okay,
So
that's cool
almost
too.
every assignment was cars
Yeah,
in some
see,
way.
if my car was in the parking lot, I would have done that too. But we grew up across the street from one another, and it was literally a quarter of a mile from the school. So we just didn't even bother parking our cars there. We just
Yeah.
walked. It was almost as long of a walk to park in the parking lot and walk to the school as it was to walk to school from our houses. So it didn't make any sense. So, but yes, so the 3000 GT that belonged to a janitor was my. I don't even know if it was an SL or a VR4. I don't remember. It was just the only visually interesting car in the parking lot.
That's a really cool janitor car.
It could have been an SL.
Yeah.
I mean,
So-
even still,
And we're talking 1999,
Yeah.
so it's a 93, so would have been almost a decade old, but anyway, it was interesting.
it's like the equivalent of a janitor having a 370Z now.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Paul, what's your photography website called that you just started?
Oh, I just started this website. It's called Kotodama Analog. I wanted to have it just be called Kotodama, but that website was under I had to pay for it. It was like $300 through some mysterious website
yeah, so it's-
overseas. So I was like, I'm not gonna do that. It was $300 too, so I wasn't gonna spend $300 on a website. So
Right.
so it's Kotodama Analog, and I kind of wanted to just do like a blog of local car stuff, and
Yeah.
it was kind of like sort of like the juice box for you, like the guy in Ireland who just kind of photographs what he experiences and what's around him. So it's a lot of like AE86s and AE101s and that kind of stuff. So I kind of wanted to capture the same sort of vibe.
Yeah, kind of like the Chronicles, like that guy.
Oh yeah,
big,
yeah,
right?
yeah. He's huge. He's
Yeah.
one of my favorites as well.
Yeah,
He's one of my
Sticky Joe or whatever.
Sticky
it is.
Dill
Sticky
Joe.
Diljo. Yeah, that's a hard thing to explain to family members. What I'm
Right.
googling.
What's this on your history?
Yeah.
What on earth are you looking at?
Yeah, he's been around for a long time. I remember him in the early 2000s,
Uh-huh.
back at the beginning of the internet days.
Yep.
I know he's been hosting an annual event for 10 years in a row. So I
Yeah.
mean,
Is that in California, I think?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
you should go to that next year.
Maybe I'll be West Coast, so it's mostly Hondas, right?
It's very Honda focused, but not entirely.
Yeah, okay.
But you appreciate like an OEM Plus Honda build, or
I like Hondas in
we call them
general.
JDMs. I don't know what they call.
OEM Plus is a Volkswagen world,
Yeah, what
I
did we
think.
call Hondas that are like?
Just clean.
Yeah.
Just clean build.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're not. I mean, we're into that. Like, we've always been into that now. Like, you never into
Yeah.
the
Well, you had
Fast
an,
and
you had
Furious
an
stuff.
EM1 years ago, so
Yeah.
that was definitely. And Paul here drives a brand new Type R, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's my third Honda.
Okay.
If I had to only drive two brands for the rest of my life, it'd be Mercedes and Honda.
Cool.
Like definitely.
Yeah. So, what? Let's ask some questions.
Sure.
What was your first car, and how did you get into cars?
Ooh, how I got into cars is a very splotchy story
Okay,
with no real definitive answer.
that's fine.
So the only other person that's really into cars in my family is my aunt, and she doesn't really do car things or go to car events. She just drives cool cars. So she definitely helped nurture the love of cars, but I didn't really get into cars because of her. My dad really doesn't like cars at all. As long as it can take him to a golf course and fit his golf clubs and not burst into flames on the way there, he's into it. I've sort of actually rubbed off on my mom and my sister, and they're starting to kind of get into it a little bit, but primarily it was just me. And then growing up, my next door neighbor and my best friend Jordan, his dad owned a Ford dealership, so we used to go over there. So like my favorite thing in the world back then were a lot of Fords. I thought the Mustang was the fastest car in the world, that kind of thing, until I started to get into a lot of the Japanese stuff. But then my first car was a Mark V Jetta that I started modifying. It was on in its final iteration, it was on air suspension and had work wheels and negative 17 degrees of camber. I was one of those people.
What was your first car? You're allowed.
It was my daily driver too. I drove about 15,000 miles a year with negative 17 degrees of camber. I
Three
missed,
sets of tires a year?
surprisingly, I didn't really go through that many tires. I debeated more than I went through tires.
Okay.
I actually missed my first day of a college class because I debeated a tire on the way there. And
Awesome.
then the next time I had that class, I broke down on the way there, and my professor really didn't believe me that
That's
I was
awesome.
having all these problems. I had to explain to him what was going on, and he didn't really get it.
So I think that's kind of a funny thing because I was also missing things with my first car, but it's because it just sucked. It wasn't because I made it suck.
The best part about it though was I had issues with it being the way I modified it, but then it also just broke a lot being a Volkswagen. I had endless electrical issues with it. And it was a '09, so it wasn't like it was that old.
Yeah, Mark V was kind of a low point, I think, in the Jetta world.
Yeah, that was a weird. Yeah, that was a weird car between the Mark IV and Mark V.
It was definitely not their shining moment of engineering prowess.
They got better.
Mark IV was like old school Volkswagen still.
The late model, the late Mark IVs were a little troublesome.
Yeah,
But the early ones were pretty good.
yeah.
Actually, maybe I'm saying that backwards. Maybe the late ones were good and the early ones were troublesome. I don't remember.
I was just thinking like the only time like debeated a tire was like rally crossing.
Yeah,
I've debated quite a lot of tires.
we never run camber either.
No,
Closest we ever came to a cambered car is driving my father's Spitfire.
yeah. No, I and the most I ran was like -2 in my STI.
Yeah. Your Honda wasn't.
It was probably like
So the back was a little bit.
yeah, the front. I don't remember if I had the front set.
Yeah.
I mean, I've debeated tires even without the aid of camber. That's just the lifestyle I live. It's just really inconvenient breakdowns.
Is it a tire stretching issue?
Not really. I mean, sometimes.
No.
In all honesty, sometimes, but like not always. I debeated on the way to a car show once in my 240, and I had to call my mom to bring a spare wheel and a jack. She was not excited to get that call at 6:00 in the morning.
No, but that's a good mom.
Yeah.
Fortunately, it was about 2 miles from my house where I broke down, so she didn't have to travel far.
So your first car was a Jetta.
Yes.
All right. That's a decent first car, actually.
It is a good first car.
Yeah. Was it a GLI or just a base model?
It was a 2.5 liter inline 5 automatic,
Okay.
real race car.
I like everything about that but the automatic. I actually like that 2.5.
They sound really good,
Yeah.
but they are very slow.
So I had an 87 Audi 4000.
Also slow.
Which had a 2.2 liter 5-cylinder. I think it made about 12 horsepower. But it sounded really good.
They are one of my favorite sounding engines.
Yeah, it sounded really good.
The Volkswagen and Volvo inline 5s are probably some of the most beautiful sounding things.
Yeah, they sound really good.
Our friend Jordan just put exhaust on his 850R. So
Yes.
we have to go check it out.
Is it a wagon?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
Oh,
yeah.
that's the good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, black wagon.
Yeah.
It's also getting a manual swap.
Yeah.
Hopefully very soon.
He's my new best friend.
Yeah. Well, his name's Jordan. Your best friend is Jordan too. So
Yeah.
it's an easy swap, easy switch. Except when he hears you had negative 17 degrees of camber, he might not like you as much.
That was many, many moons ago.
Right. It's okay. We'll let it slide. You're still here, so it's good. Your current cars don't have negative 17 degrees of camber, so
no, they
life is
don't.
good.
This beer is delicious, by the
It
way.
is
Thank you
absolutely-
for
Oh,
bringing it.
It is
Yeah.
It was a
absolutely delicious.
complete shot in the dark what I was going to pick up from that place. I was looking at the wall, and there was a lot of things on there, and I really didn't quite know what I was looking at.
Trillium's hard to go wrong with.
Especially
It's one of the best
their
around
IPAs.
here, yeah.
Yeah, they
Perfect.
make it damn
I
good
think-
IPA.
I think Ron is probably jealous that once he hears this and we have Trillium.
Yes, he'll be very jealous.
You'd be more jealous. I live 5 minutes away from there.
I have promised him Trillium when I come back out there.
All
So
right.
I promised him Trillium, and I promised him Heady Topper because he's not from New England, and he's never had a Heady Topper. So, not to call out one specific person on the podcast who's going to be getting beer from me, but I owe him because my car's in his garage.
So if anybody's in Phoenix in about a month and you want some craft beers,
Nope. And you want to store my car in your garage free of charge and let me use your lift for oil changes.
There's a business opportunity here. You
Yeah,
start importing beers across the country.
Yeah, 100%. I will definitely trade beers for car storage.
you might.
I have plenty of cars.
I mean, allegedly you can do that. That's
What's that? Shipping beers interstate?
yeah.
It's
You
fine.
just don't talk about it.
It's fine.
You can be selling Sapporo out of the Sapporo and have a Sapporo livery.
The problem with that is that Sapporo is A, gross, and B, available countrywide already.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't really be worth it.
I like Sapporo.
Do you?
I like a lot of shit beers.
That's okay. I mean, I've...
No, it's good to have a crap beer
Yeah.
that you like.
Yeah, no, we like crap beers too.
That's most of what I like.
I like Narragansett, so that's my summertime go-to crap beer.
Whatever. I'll drink whatever falls to hand, I guess is what happens. I'm not sounding like an alcoholic or anything, but
An opportunist.
yes.
All right. After the Jetta, What came after that?
So there was a bit of a sidestep because during my ownership of the Jetta, I also acquired a 1996 Mercedes SL 500. That was it was my grandfather was the original owner of that car. It was actually the first car I ever drove. I was about 4 years old, and I sat on his lap and drove it around my front lawn.
Awesome.
My mom was not excited about that.
Oh well. It's a cool story now.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. So that was the second car I owned, but I owned it at the same time as the Volkswagen.
You still have that Mercedes?
I do, yes.
Yeah, you probably had that forever. Being
It's,
your
yeah, it's,
grandfather's
it's
car.
never going anywhere.
Yeah, you should keep
My
it.
kids can have it, but after I die.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a hand-me-down in will only.
I like it. And that's a cool car too because that's on air.
It is on air suspension, yes.
And 1552
Yes,
Tarmacs.
Tarmacs, yes. At the moment, I have a set of OZ Opera 2s for it. They're going to go on it this year.
Oh,
Then some AMG stuff.
I kind of think it looks perfect the way it is, but
I like it, but
I look forward to the
like,
improvements.
I like wheels a lot, and it's very uncommon to have a set of wheels on a car for a long time. And I've had that set for about 3 years now.
I'll say for as long as I've known who you are, you've
Yeah.
had that car with those wheels on it. So
Yeah, so I'm starting to get a little.
they fit the '90s style of the car really well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
So
I didn't know what Opera 2s were. I just Google image searched
they're
them.
like
They look-
three-piece AMG style wheels.
They do look very Mercedes.
They were actually the wheels that I bought specifically were AMG optional wheels.
Okay.
Which is weird because AMG sold them as part of their tuning package back before AMG merged with Mercedes, and they sold them with a 15 mil spacer up front rather than just having a lower offset.
Oh,
wheel,
that's weird.
Which is weird, but
Yeah.
I have a 15 mil spacer,
So it'll look correct.
Yeah,
All right. I
perfect.
support this.
So I got
That's back when
AMG
AMG
stuff.
was wild and they did Mitsubishi stuff too.
Yeah, they did a lot of weird stuff, and I was
Yeah.
Merger.
I loved it.
Yeah. Both of us would probably love to have an AMG Galant.
That's on my list of things I need to own at some point in my life.
There's a couple for sale right now actually in Japan, but they're a little out of budget at the moment.
There were a couple other AMG Mitsubishis as well.
There was a Debonair.
That
It was,
is what I'd want.
That thing is wild looking though. It's not attractive in any way, shape, or
That's
form.
why I'd want it.
But I like it because of that as well.
This also
Yeah.
has a V8, right? Debonair has a V8.
I don't know if that particular car has a V8
Okay.
or not.
But you could get the Debonair with a V8
Some years maybe.
because it's the only Mitsubishi that has like.
Protea. Mitsubishi Protea was the V8 car.
Yeah, okay.
The Debonair I think were all V6s.
Because a V8 for Mitsubishi is so rare that just having a V8 Mitsubishi here would be kind
Well,
of
it's
ridiculous.
related to the Hyundai V8,
Well, yes.
which came in the.
And-
What was that big sedan? Was it a Genesis sedan or
Yeah. The first gen Genesis, I think.
one of them came with a Hyundai V8?
Yeah,
which
well,
is related
all
to the Mitsubishi.
all
V8.
of Hyundai's engines can trace back to Mitsubishi engines.
Yeah.
So,
Yet they're doing wonderful in this country, and Mitsubishi is not doing as good. I don't
well,
understand.
well, that's what you do with better marketing and better
all marketing.
Yeah. Basically, better cars.
It makes me sad seeing Mitsubishi dealerships these days and the kind of things that they're selling right now.
So I went to. I was at the Liberty Tree Mall in PB the other day.
Okay.
Super local topic, but like it's this really old, sad mall now that used to be like an awesome mall in the 90s. And it just struck me because there's also brand new Mitsubishis in there, like on display. And I was like, oh, they were cool in the 90s, and so was this mall. And like this works that they're just in here now.
What's also really neat about that is that, again, going super local on trivia, Liberty Tree Mall used to have the Liberty Tree in it.
Yeah.
Which was like this giant plastic gray dead-looking tree that
Yeah.
never made any sense to me. But actually, right where that centerpiece of the mall is where the Mitsubishis are parked.
Yeah.
So it works out
It's all
well.
come full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It all works out.
My local Mitsubishi dealership, I think, used to be a Honeydew at one point. 'Cause the place is tiny.
man.
They don't have in that building. They don't have a service area or anything. It's literally just like a few salesmen, and then mostly not Mitsubishi's.
What is the name of that dealership?
They actually
have no
also
idea.
sell donuts to get.
Honestly, probably
Probably. I mean, that would get me to buy a car.
part of the package deal.
Yeah. Free coffee and donuts for life
Yeah.
if you buy a Mitsubishi
It's
here.
a Dunkin' Donuts and Mitsubishi dealer.
That'd be the most Boston thing in the whole world.
Yeah, it really would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof. I can't picture a small. What town is that in?
That is in Norwood or
Okay.
Dedham.
So it's
Norwood
not.
or
so
Walpole.
it's not.
It's in Walpole. It's in
Okay.
Walpole.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Walpole.
Walpole.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Right on Route 1.
it used to be because the Norwood Mitsubishi dealer used to be part of the
Used to be part of Bach.
Bach, because I bought my Evo from Bach.
Yeah.
So, but it's gone now.
Yeah.
He turned into his used car
Yeah.
superstore.
Come on down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I drive by that superstore almost every day.
Yeah. It used to be a Mitsubishi dealer.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yep. That's where I bought my Evo in 2003. February of 2004.
Crazy. All right, so
Quite a long time ago.
you still have the Mercedes.
Yes. After that, so that Volkswagen, I got rid of it because I was rear-ended. I think I was stationary, and the guy was doing about 40, and he was in a Dodge Dakota.
Good.
I think I'm almost positive he was texting, but so that was fun. So
And your car was lowered, so you probably completely missed your bumper.
Oh yeah. Oh no. Well, I don't think it would have mattered.
Okay.
It was like my trunk was like in my back seat. So then like any sane person who hates their car, I bought an identical one, and then I did everything over again.
Okay.
So I bought a 2010, which is the last year of the Mark V platform, but they were also selling Mark 6s at the same time because.
So you got a good deal on a Mark V.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this was I think of 2013,
Okay.
2014. So it was a few years old. I got it for I think it was like $9,000. They depreciated like stones.
Yeah, they did.
But it was
a new model comes out, especially.
Oh yeah, but it was a base model with a manual. So it was my first ever manual car that I'd ever owned, and I basically built a repeat of it. That car hated me and I hated it, but I owned it for about a year and a half, and then I got rid of it and got a Honda CRZ, and that was the most. I maintain that as the most fun car I've ever owned in my whole life.
Sometimes the simplest cars with a manual are the most fun. So
That's the hybrid one? CRZ?
yeah, CRZ the hybrid. It's like the reintroduction of the CRX, but with a lot of batteries.
Yeah, but was it? Or I thought that was it was like you crossed the CRX with an Insight.
Yeah,
Kind of. Yeah.
it was.
pretty much.
Yeah, it was
thinking
like a
of.
sporty Insight. It had the
Yeah.
rear back window like a CRX.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it was on a shortened Honda Fit chassis.
Okay.
Huh.
Now, did you put wheels in that car?
So I had a set of Volk Monsters on it that I traded wheels off my Volkswagen to a friend of mine that had a 190E, but then he got an E36, and neither of us could use our wheels, but we both wanted each other's wheels, so we made the trade for that. And then I did a few suspension mods to it, and then a few engine tuning mods, and then I did autocross with it. And I bought a supercharger for it, and while I was shopping engine management, I hydrolocked it and blew the whole engine to smithereens and messed up a lot of the hybrid system, and the car ended up being totaled.
So when you put wheels on a CRZ,
Yes.
nope, never mind. The inside's the one with the covered rear wheels.
Yeah.
Okay, so the
Yeah.
CRZ, you see all four of them.
Correct.
Okay. I was going to ask you to put 2 or 4 on, but never mind. It wasn't an Insight.
That'd be a real inexpensive way to start modding cars.
Yeah, buy a car you can't see the rear wheels on.
Yeah, just cover them.
Well, that was the thing back in like in the 60s when people were doing the lead sled movement. They were putting, the cars on the ground, fender
Yeah.
skirts, and they just have like boring steel wheels in the back, and they'd buy us at 2 chrome reverse wheels for the front.
Oh yeah. Actually, I forgot. In between buying the CRZ and my second Mark V, I did buy an S14, 96 240 SX.
Which you also still have.
Yes.
Yes.
That car was. I bought it when it was orange, and I had found out through internet stalking that a couple owners ago it was a General Lee replica.
Ooh.
Oh,
with,
that's weird.
Oh yeah, it was called the General Nismo. It had a Confederate flag on the roof and the O1. It had a competition audio setup in it.
That's
Huh.
it's questionable now.
This was in the backwoods of Maine. Like
Okay.
it was like the towns north of where we were all area codes.
Competition audio is a thing that I don't get.
I found
and I don't understand.
I don't either, and I found the thickest wires I've ever seen in my whole life.
I can
digging through
imagine.
that interior.
yeah.
Don't you make it's not so much loud, isn't it like frequency or something?
I don't know how it works, but some of them do decibels, and some
Okay.
of them do like
They try
clarity,
crack windshield.
and some of them do bass, and there's different, just like anything else, there's different aspects of it. But I've learned that it's not really a thing around here anymore.
No.
It's still huge in the West Coast.
Yeah.
Like there's still giant audio stores in
yeah.
California and Arizona and New Mexico, like these places where you want to spend $100,000 to build a competition stereo car, you can.
Is there a video of making some girls hair
Oh yeah,
float?
that's the common thing.
That's
Hair
like the
dancing.
go-to video.
Yeah.
That's like the stance video of
Okay.
audio.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's the thing. It's like laying a dollar bill on your deep dish wheels if you're a dance guy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. I mean, it's interesting that and watching the windows flex.
Yeah.
Which I'm waving my hand like we're on video here. We're not this week. So.
No. Well, that one time the local shop over here had a open house they do every year, and they had that pickup truck with all the speakers in it.
Yeah, it was like a transformer.
and the bed stood up,
Yeah.
and my house is like a mile away from the
we
shop,
could hear it
and
from
I could
here.
hear it perfectly clear in my backyard.
Yeah.
After I left the show, like I'd still hear the music. It was really weird.
We're like, it's really too loud here. We should leave. And we left, and he came back here. It's like, oh.
Yeah, it was a nice day. I had
This
the
isn't
windows
much
open.
any better. They're not going to be able to do this next year.
Yeah.
So the Nissan, we'll go back to
Yes.
that, is now black.
Yes, technically, it looks more blue than black.
Okay.
Which was a bit of a mistake on my end. But I was looking for a black car, or I was looking for a black color, and I chose a color off a G-Wagon, which those are very blocky.
Mm-hmm.
So on a blocky vehicle, it looks black a lot more than not.
When you have
And then on a
curves,
car
it
with
kinda-
any sort of curves to it, it
Yep.
looks really blue, but it's technically black. That I use that for drifting. But for the longest, I dailied that at one point, which it had solid engine mounts and blown coilovers. So that was a fun experience. I'd rather drove that than my Mark V. So that shows my love of the Volkswagen. So then I got the CRZ, and then that was my daily, and then I murdered that, and then I got a WRX, and then I also had a R32 GTR, which I own,
Which you
right
also
now.
still have.
Yes.
Yes.
I get too emotionally attached, so I just
You're
ruin
like-
my finances.
You're
in life.
like me with good cars.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you should look at them a little more closely before you say good cars.
You're like me with cars that are better than my cars.
Depends on who you ask.
Did you
Well-
import that car or buy it already imported?
I bought it already imported. I had a friend of mine who owned it for about a year and a half, and he was one of those people who's super meticulous with doing everything right.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had a kid, and he needed a responsible dad car, in air quotes. So he sold that to me for a really good price, and then bought an Evo 10, which was his dad vehicle for a while.
Just have a super small trunk, but
Yeah,
I mean, it's got
it's a safer car.
It's got tie downs for baby seats.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's not a '90s Nissan.
Nissan. Yeah.
yeah. It was pretty luxurious. It had the SST transmission in it, so it was a MR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, very very
I mean,
very dadly.
I get the logic.
Yeah, I get it.
I get the logic. That's like my kind of logic. If I were to have children, I'd buy a, which I'm not having children. That's not happening. But I would, buy one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my dad logic now is my daughter's going to be driving next year, so
Yeah.
the dad logic has to change a little
What
bit.
safe, slow car can I get her?
Yes. How many Corollas can I buy for $2,000?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Safe, slow, reliable car.
Yes.
So yeah. And then I owned the WRX for a while, and then I ended up trading that in because it was out of warranty, and I was afraid of it because it ate a lot of oil.
Okay.
So it was a newer one.
Yeah, it was a 15. It was the first year of the FA engine. So it was a great engine, but it did eat a lot of oil. And it started eating more oil, so I was definitely terrified of that. So about 150 miles before the warranty ended, I ended up trading that in for an SI because I missed Hondas. And then I never really loved that car, but I did like it. But I think it's the only car I don't miss, even though I had like Stockholm syndrome with my Volkswagens.
You still miss them.
Kind of. I miss looking at them. I don't miss owning them. I remember I missed that, and then I was like, oh, remember that 3-week span where it wouldn't throw a code for this random problem I was having and left me stranded about 8 times.
I have that same thing with Eagle Talon, Mitsubishi Eclipses. Like, I had the worst ownership experience ever with my Eagle Talon.
You really did.
Yeah, but I love the car so much, and I want like a fleet of them.
Those have a bit more redeeming quality than a automatic 2.5 liter Jetta.
I guess.
I know.
Yeah. No, I mean I've owned lots of Volkswagens too, so I get it. But I mean I currently have a Mark 6, so sorry to offend you.
They're a lot better put together than the Mark 5s were, from what I've seen.
Yeah, no, the car's great. No
What's done to the GTR?
So the GTR is I'm not entirely sure everything that's done to it, honestly, because when you import these cars from Japan, there's a lot of things done to them that don't really get reported when they're sold. So like through a friend of mine that has one, he drove my car through a parking lot, and he was like, that is not a stock clutch. He goes, that is way more stiff than mine. So I sat in his, I was like, oh yeah, that is definitely not the same. So like I guess I have an aftermarket clutch, and then it has like an aftermarket intercooler. But it's not branded, so I have no idea what it is. It had a high flow cat, and then it had suspicious signs that there was a cage in it at one point. So I'm not entirely sure what was done to it, but I do know I have. There's a few Cusco arms sort of splashed around. It's on coilovers, Super Pro bushings, and then pretty much just an exhaust and wheels after that, and then a couple little aero pieces here and there. But
What wheels are on that?
it is on Advan TC3s, which are one of my favorite wheels, I think.
That was nice.
Yeah.
I ended up buying TC4s for the Civic, so we're gonna match.
For the new Civic.
Yes.
Which is Type R for
Yes,
those listening.
FK8. Yeah, I traded my SI in about a month ago for that.
Yeah.
I've already put about 2,000 miles on it, and I have a track day with it tomorrow.
So when this
Nice.
episode goes up, you'll be at a track day.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, it seems to be like a lot of those Japanese imported cars are like kind of weird, so they just ship them out.
Well, Japanese performance cars in Japan were always messed around with. People didn't leave anything stock.
Yeah.
So when they got rid of them, they would take a lot of parts out and sell them like you would here,
Yeah.
and sell the car as quote-unquote stock. But you're never going to know if you have internal engine changes or
Exactly.
what
Yeah.
the car went through before or what parts were on the car before or any of that stuff. So I mean, it's just kind of the same as owning a car here. It's just if anybody used STI here, it'd be the same story. You wouldn't know what happened with that car.
Yeah, because a lot of these cars, it's like their third, fourth, fifth, sixth owner,
Yeah.
and then it was imported to a different country. So there's
Yeah.
a lot of mystery surrounding what's done to them.
The
So.
fifth owner's probably still looking for it.
Yeah.
But I think that's my favorite car to drive right now. But I still maintain that CRZ was the most fun car I've ever owned.
So as a wheel nerd,
Oh yes.
where do you shop wheels? Do you import wheels?
There's a lot. It's a mix.
Okay.
I do import some stuff, and then I'm a part of like maybe 10 or 12 Facebook groups. There's a lot of really funky stuff that pops up in there.
Mhm.
Then for anything on the newer side, I go to this local tuning shop, ProSpec in Quincy.
Okay.
I have a friend that works there, so he helps me out with finding some new stuff. But I think I've only bought maybe 2 or 3 new sets of wheels my whole life.
It's ProSpec?
Yes, ProSpec.
Okay. And do they do just wheels or are they...
They do pretty much everything, but I mainly go there for wheels.
I don't think I know of them. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, because sometimes like to get what you want out of Tire Rack is like really hard,
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
and like especially when you want to order like off menu, they're like, we can't guarantee it'll fit, or like they won't like get it for you, or
Yeah, they definitely don't like selling me things in
No.
the sizes I want.
yeah,
Yeah, they don't like anything beyond stock fitment.
No.
They want to know what you drive and want to know exactly
Yeah.
what's going on and how it works. So
And it never really works either, because whenever I'm buying tires, I tell them it's an NA Miata, because there's no tire that doesn't work on an NA Miata.
okay,
So that's a little tip for you. If you want to buy tires that definitely shouldn't be on your car, tell them you have an NA Miata or an Austin Mini.
you're buying 17s for an Austin Mini.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
interesting.
It's lifted.
Yeah, apparently
Don't ask me
doesn't
questions.
have fenders.
See, I know like when I was looking up wheels for my Talon, I know that stock Evo wheels fit perfectly with stock Evo size tires.
Mhm.
So you look up an 03 Evo for wheels and tires for your DSM.
Yeah, I guess if you figure out what size you want, you could probably order things through a place like that
Yeah.
by telling them what that particular size happens to fit.
Exactly.
So I like it. That's a good trick. I never heard of that one.
Oh, yeah. The best places, though, are the Facebook groups and then, like, cruising around Craigslist. Because sometimes, like, especially when you're looking for older wheels, the Craigslist is one of the best places in the whole world. And you definitely have to misspell things a lot.
Oh,
because
Oh, yeah,
it's
for
a lot
sure.
of old people who don't really know what they have, or someone who bought a car and, like, they can kind of read what the wheel is. So they're just like, I'm selling 17-inch rims. Come look. It's they're wide. Tires good.
Yeah.
Like, get these out of my life. $300. And they're
Rims
like,
with
old-
a Z, I'll take them.
Yeah, they're like old school Volks. It's like, ooh, let me get those.
Yeah, I haven't had that kind of luck yet. But
No.
I'm a giant wheel nerd too, and I have way more sets of wheels than I have cars.
Oh, absolutely same.
Yeah,
I've definitely bought wheels for cars I don't own.
I have imported wheels from Japan, and actually Andrew has too.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun. And
Use
I've
Bai.
definitely- Yep, and I've definitely bought wheels off of people's cars who are. They buy an old car that comes with a set of wheels, and they're like, "Oh, these wheels are outdated. I want new ones. I would like your outdated wheels,
Oh, yeah.
please." Yes, that's my favorite way to buy wheels.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I enjoy wheels almost as much on their own as I enjoy the cars.
Me too. I think it's one of the most important visual modifications you can make, and also
100%.
a lot of the times one of the most important performance mods you can make too.
So growing up, my father, one thing he always said to me was, "Wheels and stance make or break a car." This is
Absolutely.
before stance meant like stance.
Yeah.
It just meant stance. Like every car has a stance,
Yes.
and it has to have the correct stance. And wheels and stance make or break a car, and that was like ingrained into me at an early age. So, I've always known that.
Well, it's like the quickest way to make your car look different. Just put wheels on it.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Like my wife's car, we'll show it to you afterwards. Like she has the new blue Crosstrack that everybody has because it's super popular. We put gray OZ Rally wheels on it.
That's
and
awesome.
it looks awesome because it looks different than every other blue Crosstrack.
Right.
And actually, she was telling me yesterday in traffic, or she was right by the house here. Some lady pulled up next to her and goes, "I think you lost a hubcap." And she's like, "Oh, I don't have hubcaps." Because their wheels just to like a non-person, they just look like a black steel wheel or something. But yeah, it's like super important to add wheels to a car.
Oh, absolutely.
And we were talking earlier about the HREs that put on the Talon and like those came off of forums. So I mean, you used to be able to get stuff on forums, but
I miss forum digging because that was definitely the best place to find literally anything. But now that the forums have kind of died, it's unless you're searching for something really specific, it's not really the best.
So let's go back to your website. That's one of the main
Yes.
things we're here for today. For your podcast and your website. So
Yep.
you have Kotodama
Yes.
analog.
Yes.
Are you going to be doing local show coverage?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to do a lot of local show coverage, and then do events and stuff, and do like individual features on people's cars. And I kind of want to do it in the Petrolicious style. That's more so instead of here are all the modifications that were done to the car and how they were done. It's like what led you from where you started with cars to now.
Today.
Yeah, exactly. Like so the first like individual feature I'm going to be doing is on my friend Steve's FC.
Okay.
And like I want to talk about how like, he used to have a super duper low Integra that had a bunch of camber, and then he had a lime green Mercury Capri Fox body.
Okay.
That was
I know
like
that
super.
car, actually, I think.
It's possible.
Yeah, I think I've seen pictures of it at least.
It was super low on really wide steelies, and then he sold it to a guy that did hill climbs, and then it very quickly ended up in a tree
Okay.
on a hill climb. I think it was in two pieces, so it was a very brutal crash.
Oof.
But then so he went from that, and then he had the FC. So I kind of want to talk about like how on earth do you go from a super stancy Integra to like a more grip oriented FC and
The same way you go from a negative 17-degree camber Jetta to a Type R
yeah.
Civic.
But I like putting a face to the car because a lot of the times you see what someone drives, and then you see what they look like and what they do, and it's a real sort of shock almost. Like there was this one guy I used to follow on Instagram. He had a Stancy Scion XB that I always thought was cool. And then I saw what he looked like, and I definitely had a completely different image. He was like 6'4" and coated arm to leg and tattoos, and he looked very scary. And he didn't look like someone that would drive an
Scion
XB.
driver.
Yeah. So it's like that's one of the most interesting things.
Picture
to
him
me.
in a Harley and a matching pickup truck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got
to
you.
that.
That's funny. That's kind of what we do here, why we always ask our guests, like, what was your first car? What got you into cars? Like,
Yeah.
why are you into cars?
It's always
What
fun
makes
to
you a
ask
car
that,
guy?
Yeah.
Because that's more important sometimes. Because if
Or a car girl.
if it wasn't for the people, there'd be no cars.
Exactly.
So I would like to know what's good with cars, and that's one thing I've always appreciated about Petrolicious as well, because their videos are they're gorgeous.
Oh, it's the single best,
Yeah.
like most beautiful thing on the whole internet.
As far as cars go,
Yeah.
I 100% agree. Maybe as far as everything goes, because cars are best.
I mean, some of their cinematography is really like some of the best ever.
They farm it out. I think they're not an in-house.
Yeah, they hire some guys.
Correct. I think they have like they have their tentacles in places with
Different areas of the country depending on what they're
Yeah,
going
I forget what they. I definitely follow the guys that produce
Tiger
it.
something.
Yeah, I definitely follow them on Instagram too.
Yeah.
The production company.
Yeah, there's a couple different ones they use depending on where they're going. And Petrolicious is petrolicious.com for anybody who's not listening, or their YouTube channel is just Petrolicious. So
Yep.
if you listen to us, you probably already know about them, but check them out because they're real cool.
Especially where making stuff on YouTube has gone. To make anything on YouTube, to make money from it, you have to make it quickly and cheaply, so it doesn't have that production quality, and they spend more time producing it. So they're more into making beautiful stuff versus making money off their YouTube channel.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure how their business model works, but
Yeah, they do other stuff. There's
Yeah.
other stuff for sale on their website. Whatever works for them, it's working clearly.
yeah,
so.
no, I've come real close to buying a T-shirt from them at least.
Yeah.
So get my $20.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I've bought a couple things from them before.
Yeah, they're a neat place.
What kind of camera are you shooting with?
I honestly just have some like a throwaway Pentax DSLR. I had another camera, or no, it's a Canon. Sorry, I had a Pentax and then I broke it.
Yeah.
And my friend who owns a photography studio said it would cost more to fix it than it would be to just replace it. And then he dug through his big box of camera stuff and then handed me a digital a film SLR and was like, "If this works, you can have it." So I didn't really choose the camera chose me, but
Whatever, it works.
yeah, I don't have any, like, I just use the stock lens as well, which is fun because you have to work around that rather than tailoring the setup to what you're shooting.
Yeah.
But it definitely is limiting as well.
Is the plan to be all film on that website? I mean, analog isn't the title of it. But
I don't really have much of a plan, honestly.
Okay.
A lot of it was I'd been throwing around the idea of starting this website in my head for almost 2 years now, and I kind of wanted everything to be perfect and for it to be perfectly mapped out before I started. And then one day I was on vacation and I just thought, this is never going to happen unless I do it. So I bought the domain that night and started building the website. So it's just I'm kind of headlong in without a plan.
That's good.
Sounds like this podcast.
Yeah. I promoted this podcast on day one, and it was like, I was going to wait till we had like 10 episodes. And I was like, oh, it's too late.
Yeah.
I was the same way with mine.
Yeah.
I as of right now, it's going to be pretty much all film, especially because that's what I'm comfortable with. I have a digital camera, but I haven't really used it too much. But I love the feeling film has, and I love that even if you take a bad picture, it still looks good and people still enjoy it.
It still has some kind of quality to it.
Exactly. I've handed some friends like the worst picture I've ever taken in my whole life, and just because it had that sort of film effect to it, they were excited about it. So
it's a mood.
Yeah. Hashtag mood. And it's just sort of a different take on sort of the automotive blog.
So going back to our first question about what got you into cars, like what got you, because you're fairly young and you're into film photography.
Yes.
What was the major push that direction?
So I took a photography class in high school.
Okay.
I took 3 years of photography in high school, and I always enjoyed shooting film the most. And I loved playing around in the darkroom and doing all that. So I kind of just carried that from high school. I'd practice on and off and take pictures every once in a while, and then the past 4 years, I'd say, I started taking a lot of film pictures. Especially now that I have a friend that has a photography studio, so it's really easy to get everything developed.
So you can use his darkroom. Do you develop them yourself?
I don't develop them myself. Okay. It's his setup's a little more commercialized. Yeah. It's not so much hand developing. Yeah. But
that was the worst part. That's the part I didn't like.
I hated mass developing stuff by hand, but it was fun to do like an individual picture.
Yeah, if you're into it, some people are really into it. Like there's the part where you're like opening it up in the dark with like a can opener, and then you got to put it on that reel thing, and you do like the motion where you're moving your hands opposite and like reels it up, and then it's got to go on the chemicals, and like it's this whole thing.
You remember way more about it than I do.
Yeah, it's
my least favorite was smelling like the chemicals when I left
for the rest of the day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, especially when you hit photography like second period. Yeah, it's awful.
I just said the best was first period photography. You smell like
using the enlarger was fun, but that was like, I send out my stuff now. So
yeah, I'm just surprised to see somebody who's your age in 2019 who's a film enthusiast
there's actually a pretty big resurgence with it.
Yeah,
you'd be surprised.
It's coming back quite a bit because it's more deliberate and it slows you down. So like digital, you're just like snapping away, and you're like, then you realize you're like, okay, this film costs like $12 now. And then it costs like another $12 to develop it.
I better be good pictures.
So I'm going to think about what I'm going to take a picture of first for a second here before I just snap the shutter.
Well, and then again, digital photography became a crutch for me because I can take a picture and like, oh, it's washed out. I'll take another one.
Now, to that end, what I'll do sometimes is I will use my digital camera as a proof, and I'll check the settings there. And I'll be like, all right, these settings worked in digital, then I'll flip them onto the film camera. I'll have some duplicates of film and digital, but it does help you in the moment check the scene if you're not sure.
There's also some pretty good phone apps that do
light metering?
Similar, sort of give you a good idea of what'll work and what won't.
Yeah. I got away from using the the OM2 that I had because it failed one day on me and it didn't advance the film or something. So I was like, eh. And I had this older, I still have it. I have this older Canon Rebel 2000 that I bought brand new, and that's what I've been shooting with. So if you've gone on our Instagram page and you've seen some of the film stuff I've been shooting, so I've been shooting with that, with just the basic Canon Nifty 50 on there, just to kind of limit you, and then 50 mil on 35 millimeter gives you like what your eye sees. It's very close to that perspective. So that's what those pictures I've taken and posted recently I really like. So
The ones like Ektar film?
yeah, so I've been shooting, I don't know what kind of film you like. I like Ektar 100's color, and I think I've been shooting Fuji slide film. I think it's the Velvia 100 or the Provia. There's two different ones. I always get them confused. Or like Portra 160 is cool.
Do you have a particular film you use?
I shoot a lot of Portra and a lot of Fuji. I have the models written down on my phone somewhere deep in my notes because I always forget.
Yeah.
And I have definitely ordered the wrong film quite a few times.
Yeah.
So I definitely have to keep that in there because I can't remember all the names and everything off the top of my head.
There's a kind of Kodak, maybe they still make it, but it's black and white. You can shoot it and then it develops in color chemicals. So like a 1 hour place can do it. And I've used that in the past. But
maybe I should start shooting film again.
It's pretty fun.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I've been using our another listener, Throttle by Cable.
Mm-hmm.
You should follow him. He's a good follow. He shoots a lot of film.
Picture behind you?
Yeah, actually, yeah. He took this and he gave it to me.
That picture's
Countach,
badass.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he told me about, I use the Darkroom Lab in California. It kind of stinks you get to send it across the country, but then they scan it for you. And then before the
digital proofs.
Before your negatives even get back to you, you've got them uploaded, and that's why I've been doing it.
It's actually kind of funny though, because shipping the stuff to California to be developed is almost easier than going to the actual place to get it developed. Because my friend's photo lab is about a half an hour away from my house, and I've been sitting on about 12 rolls of film for a month now because I like every time I can go, it's traffic, and I'm like, well, then the traffic's gonna be 45 minutes, and do I really want to do that? It's kind of out of the way. I don't know, but if I could just drop it in my mailbox and send it off, I'd probably get things done a lot quicker.
It takes about a week, but it's pretty cool.
Maybe I should pick up a couple rolls.
Yeah,
I still have the camera I used in high school for class. It was actually my father's old Yashica, so I'm sure it works just fine.
As long as you gotta put new batteries in it for the light meter.
Yeah.
It might be hard to find those watch batteries now.
Actually, it's an N cell, I think.
That was the hardest part. That's the hardest part with this Canon, this Rebel 2000. It takes they're like CR123s or something. They're like these batteries that are like an inch and a half tall. Mm-hmm. And I have to get them on Amazon. Nobody sells them locally anymore.
It's also really funny because the batteries last so long that you never really think to stock more. Yeah. And then one day it just dies, and then you're screwed because you can't go get another battery.
So I try to keep like 2 extras in rotation.
I'll have to look and see what it takes.
And it's weird.
I've touched it since high school.
When you buy them on Amazon, they're like tax cell or something. They're used in like gun sights, like laser sights.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the packaging that comes for them. So it's weird, but it works.
And if anyone wants to get into it, like one of the best places to get film cameras is like thrift shops.
Yeah.
And then eBay as well, because there's a ton of good stuff on eBay, and there's a ton of like gems hidden around thrift shops, because anyone can search eBay, but not everyone can go to your local thrift store. Mm-hmm. So you might be able to get a better deal there and snipe something a little quicker.
Kind of have to know what you're looking at, though.
Yes. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, anything will work, but if you want something specific, definitely do your research.
And actually, at a thrift store, they're probably $4, so it's probably not a big deal if it doesn't work out right.
Exactly. Yeah. It's financially, it's worth the gamble just to see what'll work and what won't.
And that would be kind of interesting.
And some of the last gen film stuff before digital really took over, the cameras are very, very good.
Yeah, like your Rebel.
And that's not even the high end one. That was like a high end prosumer one. But I mean, there's higher end ones that still command a decent amount of money that like pros shot with at the time. Mm-hmm. But I think my Rebel 2000 is probably around $150, like to buy it. And then it fits. The cool thing, it's EOS, so it fits all the Canon lenses.
Yeah, which is hugely useful.
Yeah,
especially if you're coming from a digital background and want to jump into film.
Yeah.
The other thing too, there's a lot of photography stores and studios still stock a lot of used or new film cameras.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another great place to
Yeah.
take a look.
Yeah.
Probably pay a little more there.
You're
Yeah.
definitely
But
going to
you
pay a
also
premium,
you know what you're getting.
and you know it's going to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Which
they probably stand behind it too.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
well, that's interesting. So do you scan them in with a scanner, or do you scan negatives, or?
So my friend puts them all on CDs for me
Okay.
when I get them developed
Yeah,
over there.
that's cool.
So
Whoa, you have a CD drive too.
yeah.
God,
They're
so
all old school.
Oh, he says he can put them on USB too, but I always forget to bring one, so I just have him put them on CDs for me. It's also fun to have the big pile of CDs of all the pictures I've taken. I have a whole file drawer full
I
of
don't
them.
think I've had a computer with a CD drive for at least 10 years now.
I got really disappointed when I bought my last Mac and I didn't have it. I was like, what?
I'm annoyed because my current laptop that I use here at Podcast doesn't even have a
Oh,
SD drive.
It doesn't have a.
It has a mini SD drive, not even a full-size SD
Oh
card.
no, my Chromebook has that.
Yeah, super annoying.
I just bought a new laptop for the first time in like 10 years, and it has nothing, and it's very annoying.
Yeah, everything's a peripheral now.
Oh yeah.
Everything.
It doesn't even have USB. It's just like the little Apple micro USB things that you have to plug in. You have to do an adapter. It's a
Yeah,
pain in the
Apple
ass.
gets pretty bad with that.
I have no idea what I'm doing with technology, so it's really stressful.
So that's why you shoot film.
Yeah, and that's why if you look at my website today and then you look at it next week, it might look different because I really don't know what I'm doing. So I'm
Right.
kind of changing things
You
as
push the
they
wrong
go.
button and change the background color. Whoops.
I have a cover photo on there, and you're supposed to click on the cover photo, which brings you to the blog or in the top left corner. And I wanted to do a slideshow instead. So I was like, oh, that's a fun feature. And then I completely totaled the whole website after I published that. So I had to go back
Excellent.
and undo everything and figure out what I did.
So it's currently up right now.
yes, yeah, it's
And-
currently
and
working
it's-
as far
and
as I
it's
know.
spelled so everybody knows how to find it. It's Koto
Yep.
DAMA and then analog.
Yes.
So Kotodama, pretty much as it sound, analog.
And then there's an Instagram for it as well, which is the same.
Okay.
I'll share it on the Facebook page.
Right.
Excellent. There was an Instagram that was just Kotodama, which I wanted to have, and it was they had one post that was from like 2017. They had no followers, and they followed one person. And I tried to report that account a whole bunch of times, hoping it'd get taken down, and it never did, and it was really sad.
But you have Kotodama analog is probably also your.
Correct. Yeah.
It's actually better to have, I think, the same,
yeah.
as far as SEO goes, so people can find you.
So you said you were doing a track day tomorrow. How often do you do track days?
So I do drift events a lot more than I do like grip track days.
Okay.
This is my second SCCA track night in America
Awesome.
type deal. And I've done some autocross previously, but I try to drift as often as possible. I was
Cool.
actually last weekend I was at a drift event, so then this week I'm
What
going to
was
be at the
last
same
weekend?
track.
Lock City?
It was Lock City. Yeah, it was a drift clinic,
Okay.
which
Is
was a
that-
lot of fun.
Is that at Thompson in
Yes.
Connecticut?
Yep. The Thompson skid pad.
Yeah. So what's really cool about Thompson is that like in our lifetime, I thought we were never ever gonna see more racetracks open up in New England. Like I thought that was dead. Like mid 2000s, no more racetracks. Then like the end of the 2000s, Palmer came back, Thompson revived their stuff, and then Lime Rock's like, oh, we're getting on this, and like Lime Rock does a bunch of events for like amateur stuff now.
Canaan's starting to come up
Oh,
too.
Canaan, yeah.
Because I know SCCA's sort of gotten their mitts on it, and they're doing some track nights in Americas up
Yeah.
there, and I think they're doing time trials as well.
Cool. And there's a private track up in Ospey now, like a
Ooh.
club.
I don't know about that.
That's
The Tamworth one?
yeah,
Is that just like Tamworth Motorsports Park or something like that?
something like that. I forget the name of it, but yeah, it's like it used to be a ski mountain, and they don't get enough snow there. And in the 70s, they like closed, so now they built like a track on the side of it.
It's called Club Motorsports.
Club Motorsport.
Oh, I have
it was
heard
so
of
easy.
that.
Yeah,
No.
couldn't think of it, but yeah, I've seen like promotional videos from there. I think there was a video maybe Team O'Neill did. They like drifted the course before they paved it.
Mm-hmm.
They did all
it
the
was all
gravel.
dirt, yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
Actually, speaking of Team O'Neill, they recently took up New Hampshire's sort of drift community.
Oh, yeah.
Because Club Loose used to be the go-to, or Club Loose North
Yeah.
used to be the go-to, but that folded up last year. So now Team O'Neill,
did it
and then
really?
there's a local, so Team O'Neill, and then there's another local drift team that's name escapes me at the moment, but
Yeah.
they run events up there now.
Yeah.
At Team O'Neill?
No.
At New
NHMS.
Hampshire Motor Speedway.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
The same location, same skid pad, and then I think they use the lower course as
It's
well.
so the stuff like you'd never seen drifting before. We're talking about this off air first, but when we went to Atlanta,
Race Wars Drift?
probably
That's what comes up.
when we went to Road Atlanta for Grid Life, you actually got to see like pro level drifting.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy, right? Like it's so awesome.
Oh, is that out of control?
Did you see that? And we were watching the guy with the drone, and then we watched the drone video like a month later when he edited it. You've seen the video, and he recently did one at Long Beach that was like crazy awesome. But anyway, yeah, it was like that was the first time. Like I went to like a couple drift events at NHMS, and I was like, this is cool, and I was taking some pictures and getting some practice in with like pans and stuff. And then at like Hut Import Nights, they had Ryan Turek come because he's from New Hampshire, and they drifted the oval.
Mm-hmm.
And like when he did an entry at like 100 off the main straight into like turn one, I was like, I get this.
Bananas,
this is cool. Like when people do like high horsepower, super fast drifts, like that's awesome. And now like I hear like the drift cars are like 1,200 horsepower now.
It's insane.
Yeah. So
I have about a tenth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming up in New Hampshire later this month at NHMS
Yeah.
is an event called Race Wars Drift
Yeah.
times Sound Wars in London.
I think Race Wars is an event that they do, and they host drifting exhibition.
Drifting by Gig Motorsports. Is that the new club?
Gig is another what's what I'm looking for, like a faction that does, or another.
I mean, this
company
doesn't
that
sound
does
like
drift
our
events.
kind of event,
No.
but
No. I mean, they partner with a lot of other events. Like they do for Toyota Fest at Thompson. Gig hosts a drift event for that, and I think Honda Day as well.
Cool.
which is bizarre.
Yeah, which is really bizarre because I don't think I've ever seen a Honda at a drift
Okay,
event.
so the new thing at NHMS it looks like is Northeast Drift.
I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yeah, Northeast Drift Company.
We should try to get you to Thompson before you leave. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I will.
There's actually now is the time to do it because the Lock City guys that host the Thompson, or the majority of the Thompson drift events, have recently announced that for this year they're going to be doing a street legal drift series, as well as a like a feeder series into the competition drifting. So I think it's the weekend of the 18th. They're going to be doing these events. So it's going to be one day they're going to be doing NASCAR at the same time they're doing drifting. So it's going to be mayhem. But they're going to be doing skid pad drifting, and then they're going to be doing these competition series on the road course. So if you're going to check it out at Thompson, that's the time to do it.
Yeah, definitely like watching full course drifting
Okay,
is like pretty crazy.
so going back to amateur level stuff.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Northeast Drift Co. So Northeast Drift Company. It's northeastdriftco.com. Has their first event, second event this year is actually a week from this week, so weekend after this, May 19th, at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. So if you're looking to check out local amateur drift stuff, that's where to go.
Yeah, I follow a bunch of local drifters on Instagram, and
Yeah, I have a couple of Facebook friends that go to Lock City and stuff.
yeah,
And
there's a lot of women that do it too.
Yep.
Which
Yeah,
is cool.
there's a lot of women.
Yeah.
It's funny, women in motorsports in New England seems to be.
Women in rally and drifting is
Yeah.
probably for whatever reason, maybe because they're newer sports in America, they're less established, they're more opening,
Less of a boys' club.
more open
Yeah.
to other people, which is very cool. So,
I think drifting and a lot of the amateur rally stuff is a lot more welcoming in general for learning.
And for amateurs in
Yeah.
general.
yeah,
Regardless of gender.
yeah. So
I mean, especially because a lot of the grassroots drifting isn't a competition, so it's even more welcoming.
It's-
where it's like you're not going to be graded on it.
it's like the best way I heard it described. It's like if you're watching people at a skate park, like that's basically what it is with cars. It's just people that just go out and they're just like run some drift runs and then like just like thrash a bit, and then the next person goes. Like it's not like a competition. It's
If
just
you have
like
a rear-wheel drive car, you can just go enjoy yourself.
yeah, you're just hanging out and you're just like
really bring a helmet and have fun.
yeah, exactly.
We've always discussed doing one of those drift days but we just haven't followed through with it.
It's definitely worth it to give it a try.
There's a nice Durban maroon vehicle that maybe should be used for that.
As a white one, it's probably better
Yeah.
use of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen like stock F-body Camaros at drift events. Like I saw there was some like late '60s GM station wagon that was also at a drift event once. So
Yeah.
if you have anything rear-wheel drive that isn't going to roll over in a corner, it's definitely worth trying it out.
I mean, we did it years ago,
In a parking lot.
Yeah,
It's different.
somewhere
Well, I mean, in a parking lot.
in Mexico.
Illegally, yeah. Not in a parking lot legitimately.
I
Yeah.
mean, once you're out in Arizona too, I think I know a few people that might be able to tell me when the events are. If you want to check one out.
I have a very good connection with a
There's
drifter out there already as well.
Excellent.
So
Definitely go check it out there because it's even better out there.
yeah, that's what I've heard.
it's a lot more established, I think.
They actually they also have their own quote unquote toge runs up in the mountains up there too. Yeah. I'm looking forward to doing some of that.
I'm actually surprised that there isn't any pro level events that come further north up here than New Jersey, really.
Yeah, the wall at New Jersey is pretty much the furthest north they come.
That's something I keep meaning to go is to check out New Jersey because I hear it's pretty crazy.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
with what Lock City's doing, it might bring a bit more professional drifting a little further north.
Cool.
Because it's Top Drift, I think, is the series where it's like a Pro 2 like drifting league. So it's a feeder series into Formula D through a few different steps. So it'll definitely bring a little bit of attention to New England.
Nice.
I'm looking forward to it, even though I'm leaving. I'll be around. I'll be around enough to still do events and things. So.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me. Like I don't like. I don't know. Some people are like, oh, I don't get it. I'm like, have you watched it in person? Because like you really don't get it until you watch it in person. Like it doesn't transfer that well in all. The drone videos transfer pretty well, but like when you're watching like a normal video of it, you're like, that doesn't matter. But when you hear it and you can just smell the tire smoke and you see the sensation of speed and how fast they're going, you're like, that's pretty cool. So
the other thing too is that at a lot of the grassroots events, if you bring a helmet and talk to some of the people there, they'll let you ride along in the car with them. So that's an even better way to sort of get an idea of what it's like.
Yeah, I'd love to do that actually.
This is the same at rallycross events. If you're nice to the person and you want to go for a ride along, they'll usually let you go for a ride along.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
which is, I mean, the best way to sort of get an idea for it is to actually get in the car and ride through and watch the driver, doing it, because there's a lot more hand motions and a lot more, footwork than you'd think in certain ways and a lot less than you think in other ways.
So did you do anything to it was an S13 you have?
14.
S14. Did you do anything to it for drifting? Is it?
Not really. It's on coilovers. I got rid of the blown ones that
It looks like a drift car.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just pretty much just coilovers, a big body kit, wheels, and a two-way LSD.
But it's not like a missile car.
No. I don't really like the whole missile car culture.
I hate everything about that.
Even disregarding the fact that I don't think any cars deserve to die.
Right.
So like watching people purposely kill cars really hurts my feelings.
Especially cars that are 30 years old and aren't being made anymore and have survived this long.
Even if it's all a Baron, like something that doesn't really have much redeemable quality, or like an old
once it's old, it's
old
old.
Sebring, it's like still it makes me sad. So like that makes it. But then also I like to take pride in what I drive. I mean, I like to joke that they're shit boxes because sometimes they are very much shit boxes. But like
you're preaching to the choir.
But like I still want to do my best and have the best, have my car in the best condition I can have it. And it's more fun to watch a nicer vehicle drive around than it is to watch a
shitbox.
Yeah.
I agree, and it's more fun to watch somebody who knows what they're doing, or at least looks like they know what they're doing, have a good time, get good angle. I don't need to see you within a millimeter of the wall.
I think it's also really a lot more amazing when you can drive really aggressively and have your car not beat up.
Right.
Because anyone can crash into each other and smash off walls, but it takes a bit better of a driver to not do that.
This is the same argument that we famously have all the time against lemons. I don't like lemons racing for the same reason. It's just it's
I'm just not that into it.
Yeah.
I'm not that into it for like how much it costs. It's not that cheap. Maybe it was in the beginning, but it's not that cheap anymore.
Which is kind of a bummer because it's coined as being a cheap racing series.
There's no such thing as cheap racing, but the problem is like you might show up to a lemons race and either you paid for a seat or you paid a bunch of money to make this car lemons worthy, and then you get there and the thing breaks and you maybe get like an hour of driving.
It's a lot of money invested in weirdly not very investable cars.
Yeah, I'd rather, if you really are after seat time on a track, just do a track day.
Yeah.
In your regular car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm doing it my daily tomorrow.
Right?
Yeah.
I won't give out your last name and tell your Honda warranty guys.
If you're afraid of tracking your daily driver for fear of
Buy a $1,000 Miata.
well, that, but there's also a lot of insurance companies that'll do track day insurance.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
So
that's a new
I
thing
bought.
now.
They buy it by the day, or you can buy it in packages where you do 3 or 5 days. But I bought mine through Haggerty for tomorrow. It was $160, and I'm covered
That's
for everything.
Downright affordable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's $160 for the whole day. If anything happens to my car on track or in the pits or anything within the motorsport park before I hit the main road, I'm covered.
Haggerty's making moves. I
Yeah,
like
they are.
they're going after younger people. They're going after enthusiasts.
It used to be really
cool.
difficult to get
Yeah.
Haggerty insurance, but they're opening up.
They realize
lot
where the
of-
money is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're also realizing that a classic car isn't something from the 50s and 60s exclusively.
That was the problem because they wouldn't insure your Galant, right?
That was Grundy.
Grundy wouldn't. Okay.
So I do not have Grundy anymore.
Right.
I have a friend with an R32 that had a lot of issues with Grundy as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our other friend who has a Mitsubishi Delica van had issues. I think it was.
I have
Grundy
American
as well.
Collectors now, but I may switch to Haggerty. We'll see.
Also, another important thing to note, I talked to Haggerty on the phone, and they do not tell your insurance company that you bought track day insurance.
Oh, even better.
Yeah, so if it comes down to it, you can say, look, insurance company, I was trying to not do insurance fraud, and I bought special insurance for today.
Right.
I mean, I feel like it shouldn't. I don't know.
I don't think it should matter, but it does.
That's like a individual rights thing. It's like
my insurance company has sent me a picture of my car drifting and asked what I was doing.
Really?
They asked if I was competing in speed racing
Yeah.
or driving in any competition.
Now, is
'Cause
that just due to like the social media and they search you, or
I don't know, because my Instagram, the Osaka Flaga one, isn't. I don't have my real name on there.
right?
I would. I mean, one thing, like a quick thing you do is before you go to like autocross events or any of these events, just pop your plates off.
Yeah. Oh, actually, it was a front 3/4 photo, and
Yeah.
I don't have a front plate. And I had a helmet on, and it was from the right side of the car.
Well, then
so
how
I
do they
also
prove
was.
it?
I have no idea.
They
Yeah.
probably can't prove it.
They
but
can't prove
they
it.
probably do. They probably have some kind of a logarithm that like searches your name in registrations for these events.
It doesn't matter because you can be like, well, I have another one.
Yeah.
I have another car.
The only problem though
Prove
is
it's the VIN. You don't register your VIN for these events, so
no, but the problem was our insurance agent that we deal with is also the same guy we deal with for a lot of our businesses, and my parents are going to be having a personal meeting with him, and he is going to be at my house, and that is where the vehicle is.
Oh, okay.
So I couldn't exactly lie because he's going to come over and be like, dude.
Yeah, I have that same issue.
But I think as long as you're not competing and you're not like in a time trial event, you're not timing your laps or going for a racing license, they don't really care.
My thing is that it's off road. It's not on the road, so like the insurance doesn't matter anyways.
Exactly. I think another fear that they have though is you're going to crash your car on the track and then push it
tow
into a
it to the
ditch.
street.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Which
sure
happens all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
And people are assholes like that. I wouldn't do that. I'd own my mistake, but yeah, people do that because they're.
The biggest problem now is everyone has a GoPro in their car and
Yeah.
everyone has phone cameras. So if you crash your car at the track, there's a very high probability the pictures will be on Facebook later.
Yeah, I've dealt with this in the body shop realm of things. Somebody crashed a car on a track day, and then I know what happened. Like, oh, I hit, a guardrail. And I'm,
Sure.
But that guardrail was at Thompson.
I know what happened here. I'm not the insurance company. You don't have to lie to me. So,
I watched a GTR go into the wall at Lime Rock. I
Oh,
was there-
jeez.
I was there a couple years ago watching a track day. Yeah, I think he came down the downhill, and then like it's like very similar in Forza. If you like lift in the downhill or you mess up, the car just goes into that wall by the pits.
That downhill corner is brutal.
Yeah.
at Lime Rock.
Yeah.
Oh, the one going to the main straight.
So coming down the hill, going to
Yep.
the main straight,
Yeah, the right hand.
it's literally just like in Forza. If
Yeah.
you let off the throttle or you mess it up, like you go right into the.
We watched a guy get killed there a couple years ago.
Jeez.
So
Yeah.
no good.
Yeah,
You
he was in that. He was in like a
He was
really
in
old
a
car.
vintage race car. It was a '30s race car, but still, it was.
Was it at
that
the
close.
Historics?
Yeah,
That's one of my favorite events.
Yeah.
we go every year.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm writing coverage of it right now.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, that's a great event.
We were there last year too.
Oh, yeah. I bought a set of Hayashi 13s and a set of Techno Magnesios.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Wow, the swap meet area?
Oh yeah, $40
Wow.
for all 6 wheels.
What?
Or well, there's 3 full Hayashis and then 1 lip barrel combination with no face, and then there's a pair of Techno Magnesios. But all 6 of those were like $40. The guy had to pinky promise the guy. Literally, he made me pinky promise him that I wouldn't put them on a car though, because he didn't trust them, especially the magnesium ones.
You should sell them to somebody else and not make the same promise. Well, I have many cars that those will fit.
I mean, don't do a track day on them. Drive to.
They're fine.
Yeah, they're probably fine.
I mean, they age out after a while. Like,
I mean, they're fine for driving to like the local car show.
yeah, I wouldn't do a track day on my HREs
Right.
because I'd be afraid those would fall apart. But like, just driving to like Cars and Coffee, totally fine.
100%.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not in Boston.
Just fine.
Oh, yeah. So before we get too deep here, there is a Cars and Coffee at Lars Anderson on Saturday
Saturday
May
morning.
11th. That's the first one of the season there. We're going to go because it's going to be a nice day. I don't know if you're going to go.
I want to go really bad, but my sister is graduating from college.
All right.
So
That's an important life
can't-
event you
yeah.
should participate in.
Yeah.
Support her. And
I
then
guess.
and then on Sunday, if it's supposed to rain, unfortunately, around here, or the podcast, the 12th, that is our Southern New Hampshire Cars and Coffee that we participate with at the Coffee Factory in Salem, New Hampshire. That we'll see how the weather is. If it's like not raining that much, like if it's like just kind of threatening, I think I'll go still. But if it's like pouring, I'm not gonna bother. But unfortunately, so
I've been wanting to make my way up for one of those events for a while now. I think I might try to pull it off on Sunday.
we'll see. We'll see how the weather is.
This is for our Cars and Coffee?
Yeah,
You're talking about? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be there rain or shine, but
it's early weather reports are like it could go either way in the morning.
it looks like it's going to definitely rain in the afternoon, but the morning is up in the air.
Yeah,
So
so
it's Mother's Day too, but it's
Oh
early enough.
shit! No, I definitely won't be there then.
It's
Yeah.
early enough in the morning that you can do your thing with your mother in the morning, and then in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You'd be done with the car show in the morning, in time for brunch
yeah,
or lunch or
yeah.
dinner. with
Like
your
we
mom.
have afternoon plans for Mother's Day, so I was
Yep.
gonna go up in the morning.
Well, it's funny because I actually asked my parents. I was like, "Hey, what do you guys want to do for Mother's Day this year?" And they're like, "Oh, we don't really know." I was like, "All right, since you can't be committing to anything, how about I tell you I have plans in the morning and we make it for at least afternoon?" And they're like,
Yeah.
"All right, that's fine."
All right,
So-
cool. Anything else?
I got nothing else. I'm gonna get some project car updates. We'll probably save it for next week because we've already gone
Yeah,
full episode here.
yeah.
Plus, we'll have more updates next week.
Yeah.
Because hopefully the car will be back on the ground
We
and
might
running.
even do a bonus episode. We'll see. We'll see. We're feeling a little. We'll see how.
Bored during the day.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out. Yeah. So, Paul, anything else you want to replug your stuff again?
The check out the Daily Brief Auto podcast. It's me and my friend Thanasi. It's mostly new car news, and then we talk about our own car stuff. We have I'm out in Boston. He's out in California, so we get a pretty big span of stuff we look at. And then all the new car news that you probably care about, and you don't have to read the stuff that you don't care about. And then we also have a Facebook and an Instagram, which are of the same. It's daily_brief on Instagram and facebook.com/dailybriefauto. And then my own stuff is Kotodama Analog. It's KOTODAMA Analog, which I always feel like I'm spelling it wrong every time I do because it seems not ANAL.
Yeah, the double A
Yeah.
and then ANAL.
Yeah. But so Kotodama Analog, and then my own personal Instagram is Osaka Flocka. Osaka like Japan, Flocka like Waka Flocka.
Awesome. As always, you can follow us, Auto Off Topic Podcast, on Facebook, Auto Off Topic on Instagram, me, Racing Anger on Instagram. Brad, where do they find you?
Oh, my now infamous name of TSISS350.
Cool. All right. As always, keep cars analog and aim for the roses.